We live in an age where the boundary between technology and magic has all but dissolved. Yet most of us wander through this digital landscape like tourists who don't speak the local language. Today, we aren't just looking at circuits and code. We are peeling back the veil on a multi-generational saga of human brilliance, mechanical ghosts, and the modern shamans who learn to command the electron. If you've ever wondered why your phone gets hot, why AI is suddenly everywhere, or how a machine actually thinks, stay with me. This is the story of how we turned raw earth into the mind of God. Let's begin at the beginning, not with a circuit board, but with the earth itself. Imagine a shaman in the ancient world, looking at a piece of quartz and seeing a spirit trapped inside. Today, our engineers do something remarkably similar, though we call it solid-state physics. We take common sand silica and, through a process of extreme heat and chemical alchemy, we refine it into ultra-pure silicon crystals. This isn't just manufacturing. It is a ritual of purification. We then hand this silicon over to the modern shamans, the lithographers. They use ultraviolet light with wavelengths so small, they defy the imagination to etch invisible symbols onto these wafers. These symbols are our incantations. When electricity flows through these etched paths, the silicon awakens. It begins to speak the only language it knows, binary. 0 and 1. Yes and no. Light and dark. As a software engineer or a user, you are interacting with a digital illusion. When you see a beautiful photo on Instagram, you aren't seeing an image. You are seeing billions of shamans flipping switches at the speed of light to trick your eyes. This is the veil of the computer. We have created a magical artifact that influences how we think, who we vote for, and how we love. But to truly master this magic, we have to understand the ghosts that lived in the machines before they were made of silicon. To understand where we are going, we have to look back at the humble, clanking origins of the mind. In 1936, a young German engineer named Konrad Zuse wasn't working in a high-tech lab. He was in his parents' living room. He was building the Z1, a machine made of thin metal plates and rods. It was purely mechanical, but it did something revolutionary. It used binary logic to perform calculations. It processed exactly one instruction per second. For context, your modern smartphone processes billions. Imagine the sound of that machine, a rhythmic clicking, like a giant mechanical heart. While the Z1 was eventually destroyed by Allied bombs, the soul of the idea survived. It proved that human logic could be externalized into a physical object. This era gave us the von Neumann architecture, a blueprint named after the polymath John von Neumann. He proposed a radical idea that the instructions, the recipe, and the data, the ingredients, should live in the same memory. Think of your kitchen. Before von Neumann, you had a different kitchen for every meal. If you wanted to bake bread, you built a bread kitchen. If you wanted to fry an egg, you tore it down and built an egg kitchen. Von Neumann gave us the general-purpose kitchen. This blueprint is why your laptop can be a typewriter 1 minute, a movie theater the next, and a battlefield for video games the second after. We are still living in von Neumann's house. The mechanical era was limited by physical friction, but the next era was limited only by the size of the atom. In 1947, at Bell Labs, the transistor was born. If the Z1 was a clunky mechanical valve, the transistor was a silent electrical tap. It could turn a current on or off without any moving parts. This was the Big Bang of the digital universe. Suddenly, we didn't need room-sized computers filled with glowing, hot vacuum tubes that attracted moths, which is, by the way, where the term computer bug comes from. We could shrink the switches. This led to the integrated circuit packing multiple transistors onto a single sliver of silicon. The climax of this era was the Intel 4004 in 1971. This was the first microprocessor. It was the size of a fingernail but had the power of the ENIAC computer, which took up 1,800 square feet. This is the moment computers stopped being tools for the government and started becoming products for the people. It was the democratization of intelligence. We had successfully shrunk the brain of the machine so small that it could fit into the palm of a hand. At the heart of every device you own is the CPU, the central processing unit. If your computer were a corporation, the CPU would be the CEO. It is a generalist. It is incredibly smart, incredibly fast, and capable of handling any task you throw at it. The CPU thrives on sequential logic. It says, do this, then do that. If this happens, jump over there and do this instead. This is called branching. The CPU is the master of the if-then statement. Whether you are typing a Word document or navigating a complex menu in a game, the CPU is the one making the decisions. In the modern world, we've seen two titans emerge in this space: x86 and ARM. x86, Intel and AMD, is like a heavy-duty freight train. It's built for raw power and complex tasks on your desktop. ARM, the tech in your iPhone and MacBooks, is like a high-end electric car. It's incredibly efficient, doing more work with less fuel, battery. But even the mightiest CPU has a fatal flaw. It is a lonely worker. No matter how fast it is, it generally handles one task at a time per core. For decades, we lived by Moore's law, the idea that the number of transistors on a chip would double every 2 years. We just kept making the CPU faster and faster, but around the mid-2000s we hit a wall, a physical wall. When you pack billions of transistors into a space smaller than a postage stamp and run them at high speeds, they get hot. Really hot. If we kept pushing the clock speed of CPUs higher, they would eventually reach the temperature of the surface of the sun. This is why your laptop fan screams when you're doing something intense. To solve this, we started adding more cores, essentially putting multiple CPUs on one chip. But here is the problem. You can't always solve a problem by adding more people. If it takes one woman 9 months to grow a baby, you cannot hire 9 women to do it in 1 month. Some tasks are sequential. Because of this, the CPU hit a performance ceiling. We needed a different kind of mind. Enter the GPU, the graphics processing unit. While the CPU is a brilliant professor who can solve any complex problem one-on-one, the GPU is an army of thousands of elementary school students who can all do simple math at the exact same time. Originally, GPUs were built for one thing: video games. To render a 3D image, you have to calculate the color and position of millions of pixels every single second. A CPU is too smart for this. It gets bogged down in the details. The GPU, however, uses parallelism. It breaks the big task into millions of tiny simple math problems and solves them all at once. In the 2010s, researchers realized something world-changing. The math used to draw a dragon in a video game is the exact same math used to train a neural network. This realization triggered the AI gold rush. Suddenly, NVIDIA, a company that made cards for gamers, became the most important hardware company in the world. The GPU became the engine of the intelligence revolution. You might ask, if GPUs are so powerful, why do we still need CPUs? This is where the beauty of balance comes in. Think of a CPU like a Ferrari. It is incredibly fast and can navigate a winding, complex road, complex logic and branching with precision. But it can only carry 2 people. Think of a GPU like a massive city bus. It isn't very fast on a winding road, and it's terrible at making sharp turns. But it can carry 100 people at once. If you want to move 1,000 people down a straight highway, doing matrix math for AI or rendering a frame of a movie, you want the bus. If you want to navigate the complex, unpredictable logic of an operating system or a spreadsheet, you want the Ferrari. We need both. One provides the direction. The other provides the brute force. As AI became the dominant force in tech, even the bus wasn't enough. Google realized that if we are going to train models like Gemini or GPT, we need a machine that does nothing but AI math. They created the TPU, the tensor processing unit. The TPU is a domain-specific chip. It discards everything a normal computer needs. It doesn't care about your mouse, your keyboard, or your screen. It is optimized for one thing: matrix multiplication. By specializing so deeply, TPUs can process AI workloads with a fraction of the energy and at many times the speed of a general GPU. We are moving away from one-size-fits-all computing and into an era of bespoke hardware, where the chip is designed specifically for the dream it is meant to dream. Finally, we have the newest member of the family, the DPU, or Data Processing Unit. In our modern hyper-connected world, moving data from one place to another has become a full-time job. Imagine a massive data center. Thousands of CPUs and GPUs are working, but they are spending 30% of their brain power just managing the network, checking security, and moving files around. This is a waste of expensive talent. The DPU acts like a high-speed traffic controller and security guard. It offloads the busy work of the data center, allowing the CPUs to think and the GPUs to calculate. It is the invisible plumbing that makes the planetary scale internet possible. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive today. Wishing you all the very best of health and happiness. And if you found this journey as fascinating as I did, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the heart of technology.